Like a thief in the night, Texas Tech is stealing the best players in the Big 12. Are you the next to be stolen? This is the Dose Grande Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 squad. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up, it's the Big 12 squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big 12 squad.
Happy Thursday night, everybody. Welcome to the Big 12 Squad. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. And joining me, he is 5'3", but 140 pounds. What a swimmer's build. He covers the Colorado Buffaloes every day. His name is Kevin Borba. But wait, too much teaching, too much coaching. You can never have too much of a good thing. Parker Ainsworth, host Locked On Cougs, all things Houston, and he is the man in the backwards hat. Get you a do for segment number 2. Mountaineer Paul, Locked On West Virginia, talking all things, and
Locked On Oklahoma State
for the time being. And look, great place to start. Our thoughts with Cody Stovall right now, who is dealing with medical things that we know he'll overcome, that we'll know he'll be back from. And our hope is in the next few days, he is back on the air with the Oklahoma State faithful. In the meantime, our thoughts are certainly with him. It's a great way to start the squad. Mountaineer Paul, great reminder. Thanks for making our shows your first listen every single day. The portal has taken off. Texas Tech is at the forefront of that, stealing Brendan Sorsby from Cincinnati. Him choosing Texas Tech over LSU is still a great nod for the Big 12, as much as it is total suck for a Big 12 school to be poaching from another team across the conference. That said, since we have you, Paul, West Virginia has been raking in the transfer portal so far as well. They are quietly up there in the top 4 or 5 with Texas Tech for teams in the Big 12 succeeding early.
Yeah, you go out, you get a quarterback from Oklahoma and Michael Hawkins Jr., who's an elite runner, which is exactly what you got to have in Rich Rodriguez's offense. You bring his brother along with you. Definitely ain't mad at that. Who was anytime you're recruited to play at Oklahoma, you're probably a good player. And you don't have to teach him the defense, obviously, because Zach Alley came over from Oklahoma last year. And so that kind of excites you. And there are other guys as well. Obviously, Jameer Latimer is another guy you bring over from Wisconsin who follows his brother. It's almost like West Virginia's come up with a new plan here. We're just going to get siblings. But Amari Latimer, our 4-star flip on signing day, his brother played at Wisconsin and Jameer, and now Jameer joins his brother at West Virginia. And he is currently our highest rated transfer right now. But yeah, I think West Virginia's got a plan. They, last year they dabbled in and they, a lot of D2, a lot of JUCO, a lot of those type players, because they missed the first portal window. They missed high school recruiting. And so obviously they're having to do things a little differently this time around. And you look around the portal and you see West Virginia targeting multiple guys with 2 or 3 years left. I think that's part of the plan as well.
Trying to build Kevin Borba, state of the program with, you mentioned it off air, Deion Sanders has been everywhere here recently, and one can only hope that he's had at least some extreme focus. So it's a weird thing to have some very, very extreme focus on the transfer portal.
Yeah, Deion Sanders has been well-traveled recently, supporting his son, heading back to Texas. But we all know he's the king of the transfer portal. And the Colorado Buffaloes have started off hot in the portal. They landed Danny Scudero, the San Jose State wide receiver who led the country in receiving yards. He was one of the more electric wide receivers in the country, I would say. Programs like he torched Texas, he torched Stanford, he hung like 140 yards on Stanford. And so Colorado is hitting it hard. And they have a couple of really good wide receivers. They brought in a couple of running backs from Sac State, where Brendan Marion was the head coach last year. And so their run game is already looking better. And they're going after a lot of pass rushers and defense linemen, because they were probably the worst defense line in the Big 12, one of the worst defensive lines in college football this past season. So they're trying to rebuild that way. And like Paul said, they're changing up for West Virginia, at least Colorado's changing up their mindset with who they're recruiting. I think they are at least for now, done chasing the Alabama and Georgia rejects and flameouts where it's like, oh, that guy was a 5-star who didn't do well under Nick Saban or Kalen DeBoer, but he's going to figure it out here. Or like, oh, this guy was kicked off his team there, but we're going to fix him. Like they're no longer chasing the schools with the big names. And I think that's a reminder to everyone. And I did this segment on my show is stop chasing the helmet stickers. There's a reason they're leaving the Alabamas, the Georgias, the LSUs of the world, right? It didn't work out there for a reason. And I think Colorado has finally learned that lesson. Like, hey, he flamed out at one of the biggest programs with the biggest resources in college football. Why would we go after him? So they're going after a lot of group of 5 guys, FCS guys who have experience, who are all conference caliber players, and they also have multiple years of eligibility.
Parker, Houston had an incredible year in 2025, but there are definitely going to be holes next year the portal can fill. How are those being filled? Will they be filled successfully?
I only heard part of that question because I think I'm working with some Mountaineer Wi-Fi. No, jokes aside, I will say
all has great Wi-Fi now, by the way.
Fixed it all, and I'm a little jealous because mine still has problems. If the question was about what's being fixed at Houston, what's being filled into Houston, I will say that the big deal for Houston is feel like a lot of getting the band back together. They bring in Mekhi Hughes, who was he had 2,700 rushing yards over 2 seasons at Tulane, went to Oregon. Was one of a bunch of people that went to Oregon all at the same time and asked for a red shirt early in the season. He's coming home to play for Willie Fritz and Slade Nagel again, right, as he did at Tulane. They bring in Shadre Hurst, who is a 2-time All-American Athletic Conference guy. I think a lot of people assumed he was going to follow Summerall to Florida, and he actually opted to come play for Nagel and Fritz at Houston. Top-tier interior offensive lineman. Nobody likes the interior guys as much, but he's as good as it gets inside. They're doing okay things out there at Houston as far as that kind of stuff goes. The Mekhi Hughes kind of sat out last year. They don't have the big sexy name from last season yet, but I also don't think Fritz is ever going to be that guy. Last year they had 8 all-conference guys that had been in the G5 previously. I think that's just kind of what Houston's going to do for the while we're trying to pull Tillman Fertitta along a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. Coming up on the Big 12 squad, we are joined by a special guest whose legendary statue Hall of Fame head coach just wasn't good enough. This is the Dos Grande squad. Today's show is brought to you by Rocket Money. Look, Rocket Money is exactly where I go when I'm 24 years old and don't really know what to do with my money. I work 4 jobs. I need somebody that can say, hey, you probably shouldn't be subscribed to 7 different television streaming services. Rocket Money is that for me, and they're right. I shouldn't be subscribed to 7 different. So I go to Rocket Money. And it makes it incredibly easy to figure out what I'm spending my money on and how to cancel it. I can cancel it from the Rocket Money app. No more hunting down customer service numbers. The automatic transaction categorization is a game changer. I can finally see exactly where my money is going each month as well. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/locked on. That is rocketmoney.com/locked on. rocketmoney.com/locked on. Visit Rocket Money and do it today. And there he is, as promised, JT Wistrcill of Locked On Utes. This is the first squad show since the Utah conundrum brought down the entire Beehive State on the gridiron. It has taken every coach, man, woman, and child with it to Ann Arbor, Michigan. We did a squad show 4 weeks ago, JT, where you were pretty adamant that Utah had not forced out Whittingham. And forced out is still an extreme way to describe what happened. But Whittingham asked for more time. He wanted to coach. Utah was tired of the back and forth. Now he's the head coach at Michigan and decided to take half the Utah staff, half the BYU staff with him. This kind of blew up in everybody's face in the Big 12.
It absolutely did. I mean, you look at both BYU and Utah are worst for it, right? It is kind of funny how this all ended up shaking out, where you look at last year, Utah's offense was a mess. Oh, you bring in Jason Beck. He saved it. Jason Beck's gone. Utah's going to have 2 first-round picks this year, both on the offensive line. The problem is now the offensive line coach is in Ann Arbor. Your tight end coach is now over there as well too. And originally it only seemed like Witt was going to take the offensive staff, but then boom, Lewis Powell, the defensive end coach, he's gone now too. Who's in the portal? John Henry Daly, one of the best pass rushers in the country. And as you mentioned, Drake too, BYU got hit by this a little bit too. So it is
a little bit. What do you mean a little bit?
What, BYU lost what? 2 coaches?
Maybe the best schematic coach on their staff. Maybe the second best defensive coordinator in the Big 12. What do you mean a little bit?
That's true. No, I was just saying in terms of the number of bodies. You're absolutely right. The Jay Hill's arrival and BYU's resurgence absolutely that matches up perfectly. So it's a huge loss for the Cougars as well too. Both these programs are weaker now, and I'm curious to see how this gets navigated. It's funny though the way Kyle Whittingham, like when he talks, right? He's talked before about how he's like, well, one of the mistakes I made at Utah was I put a timeline out there. When they started to ask me questions about retirement, I answered. He was asked a question in Las Vegas about what he thinks of the city, and he used it as an opportunity to talk about how he probably won't be sitting in this chair. So Kyle Whittingham is the one who created the narrative that he was close to being done, and then he used that narrative to motivate himself, I guess, and has completely damaged Utah and BYU in the process. So it's been a wild month in Salt Lake City, and I still can't get used to Kyle Whittingham.
Maybe it was a plan.
Maybe. I will say, I mean, he's given Utah 21 years, right? Like, so that's where I'm not really mad at Kyle. He gave us 21 years.
Yeah, and then he left for Michigan. The athletic director would let him come back.
Yeah, but I feel like this is a situation where how much longer is Kyle truly going to go? Would Kyle have signed a 5 year?
It doesn't matter how long he goes. He took everything he needed.
You would have lost more. I feel pretty strong. I feel pretty strong from people I talked to. Morgan Scalley wouldn't have come back if Kyle Whittingham came back because Morgan had really good opportunities.
But guess what? Everything else would still be in place.
Maybe I don't agree with that fully. Yes, like okay, so for BYU, I think it would be like I don't think Jay Hill's
for Utah. Think about the coaches that left with Kyle; they would all still be at Utah, like Beck and Harding. They would say,
Harding wouldn't have stayed. Harding wouldn't have stayed. He wouldn't have stayed, Drake.
He would have stayed with Kyle. He just left for Michigan with Kyle. Why wouldn't he have stayed in Utah with Kyle?
Because he was going to get a lot of interest from some of the top programs in the country, and it was outside of Michigan. He was.
Why would he take it? Why would he take it if he had the top interest from some of the top programs in the country? Why would he have taken the coordinator job with Kyle? Like, wouldn't he have taken the other job?
No, he didn't get a coordinator job. I'm saying the offensive line coach. I'm saying he got.
I'm sorry,
he would have gotten. He was getting interest from other Power 4 teams. There's a reason he was a little delayed, by the way. Like Jason Beck went pretty quick. Jim Harding was announced a little bit later down the line. From people I've talked to, there were other teams that also wanted Jim Harding. So I'm saying even if Kyle had come back, I don't think it's a guarantee that Harding would have stayed a good shoulder. He absolutely could have, but I don't think that's a guarantee. I'll also just say this: I think Jason Beck was on borrowed time in Salt Lake, and not in terms of his seat hot. He would have probably left in 2 years, right? When you look at, he made Utah's offense great. Like that's not something that we usually say. A great Utah offense. He was not going to stay in Utah forever. I think the big dogs were going to come calling, and they did. But you're right, Drake. A lot less would have changed had Kyle stayed. But Utah still would have been worse for wear because I think they would have lost Morgan Scalley, and that would have been a massive loss. Utah got their next head coach, and I think he's going to do a great job. And I'm curious to see how Kyle will do at Michigan.
I'm also intrigued, though. You said, I mean, he did stay there 21 years, and I say in modern college football, it's probably
longer than that, by the way, as an assistant as well.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
But he's only 6 months older than Willie Fritz, and maybe I'm like, whoa, but like Fritz is like crowd surfing after wins and stuff. Like he's not like, he doesn't feel like, and
Parker, you and I ran into Willie at Big 12 Media Days. He's got a pretty frail handshake.
That's wild.
Rich Rodriguez is the same age as him, and Rich Rodriguez runs circles around them both for sure.
They're
as far as like vitality goes.
His team didn't.
Well, yeah, that's probably Rugiet. Doing all the work there. Shouts to Rugiet doing all the work.
On the topic of testosterone, let's rank the Big 12 coaches.
I guess I just feel like I mean, Willie has said Houston's his last stop several times, and all of that, and it. I'm not saying he's going to coach for 15 more years. I don't think he's got 2 left. I think, is that a cat?
Yeah,
nice, Paul.
It left too.
Paul's cat.
I just say, like, let's just say JT said, hey, actually, I'm going to finish this out. How many more would he have gone at Utah realistically?
I don't think it's 5 because I don't even think he's going to go 5 at Michigan. Now, maybe he will, but this is still the same guy.
Rugiet can help that, by the way.
Yeah, exactly, right? This is the same
Rugiet
guy.
go long.
who talked about being closer to the end than the beginning, who originally said he didn't want to coach past 65. So did he want to do a little longer at Utah? Yeah, it seemed like he would have wanted to go a little longer, but I'd be surprised if he makes it all 5 years at Michigan. Let's also not forget, he's got to win like a college football playoff game in the first 2 years, or they'll be calling for his job almost instantly. It's a brutal fan base out there, and I'm very curious to see how he'll do there. I think he'll do well, but it's
counterpoint. They fired the last two guys in scandal. I think he just keeps a clean record. He's probably okay.
But they weren't happy. Sharon Moore's seat was going to be hot going into next season. Michigan fans were mad because they're unreasonable.
Keep it in your pants. And maybe Sharon Moore is still that is the butter knife. Keep the butter knife in your pants.
Oh my
maybe
God.
Sharon Moore.
Well, and keep your hands in your pockets and don't steal signal. There's both options, right? Both, all bad things.
Many things. Paul, I've heard Michigan fans compare this to the Rich Rodriguez situation. I think he could be the next Rich Rod of Michigan. Is that a little blasphemous? Do you feel offended when people say that?
Well, with Rich Rodriguez, so there's a book called 3 and Out about that situation, because Rich Rodriguez didn't have it. Rich Rodriguez, obviously, as you guys have come to learn, does things a certain way in his programs. There's not a whole lot of tomfoolery, right? It's very serious for the most part. He's funny, but like as far as the players go, things are pretty buttoned up. And he took that approach to Michigan, where 5 stars and all these kids that don't really have to be there are. Owen Schmidt, one of our greatest players ever, came from Wisconsin Whitewater, who played for the national championship D3 yesterday. Those kids don't have any choice. Like, they're glad to be there. We're just happy to be here. Put us through whatever you got to put us through. And he took that, mentality to Michigan. And not only did the players push back against it, but everybody did. He tried to take this newfangled spread attack to Michigan and try to run the spread offense when they've been 3 yards in a cloud of dust for 50 years, and they didn't take to it well. I think nowadays you could probably take any offense you wanted to Michigan, and they'd be much more accepting of it, just because that's a sign of the times. Offenses are just much more accepted now. Brady Hoke took Rich Rod's players and won a Sugar Bowl. Rich Rod got not even 3 years at Michigan. So, I think at the end of the day, had Rich Rod been given a normal span of time for that era, which was 4 years, I think he would have won. But nobody's really going to ever know. I think similarly with Kyle Whittingham, if you give him 4 years, he's going to win there. He's going to have the resources, he can recruit. So there are similarities, but no, I don't think they're going to rebel against Whittingham like they did Rich Rod.
I mean, Kyle Whittingham is culture, right? Like, that's what he created with Utah, stability. This was the perfect hire for Michigan. The whole reason at the time I was saying as a 1 year interim is because I did think Kyle was even closer to the end, just based on the comments he made in the past. Then all of a sudden he got this extra juice and extra fire. And I think Michigan does create that, right? It's one of the premier jobs in the country. I think that's why they had their pick of the litter. And that's why, like, Alabama's Kalen DeBoer, right? He never exactly put it down like he was never going to get it, like never going to take it for a very long time. Eventually put a statement out, but he did let it linger out there for a long time. This is an incredibly appealing job. He's already gotten Bryce Underwood to agree to stay. I think he will win at Michigan. Will he win a national championship there, which is what the fans want? I'm going to lean no, but I do think he'll make the playoff there.
Should Utah fire Mark Harlan, Big 12 squad?
Oh my gosh.
Don't, oh my God. Borba.
No.
Borba. You got an athletic director who lets the 21-year head coach, statue Hall of Fame guy walk, because that guy kept being like, I'm retiring, not retiring, retiring, not retiring. So yeah, wishy-washy. You salvage the coach who was the defensive coordinator, but he's never won a game as a head coach, never been a permanent head coach. So you take a chance on that guy. Your basketball team sucks. Your baseball team sucks. A lot of programs at your university suck, and you just lost.
Gymnastics is good.
Dear God.
The Rockettes, right? Isn't that what they're called?
Red Rocks.
Red
yes,
Rocks,
sir.
sorry.
And you just lost the biggest thing going for you for the last 2 decades, Kyle Whittingham, Sugar Bowl champion. Do you maybe start to question the athletic director if you're Kevin Borba in that situation?
I think you would start to question it, but you have to look at how he handles this next year. Like, this is athletic directors operate on a weird calendar.
Do you mean does he or does he not run on the field to berate the officials this season? Has he learned his lesson?
Frowned upon? Like, where is that in the list of things?
He didn't.
But like, I think you have to evaluate the whole year, right? And so what does he do next? So basketball, they just hired a new coach. How does he operate, right? Do they get better? Do they improve? Baseball, obviously, it's not money driving sport, but a lot of programs want to be good at it because it can be at times. And so
fun to win.
I think you evaluate this year and how Morgan Scally does. I don't think you can fault him for doing what he felt was right.
I think I can fault him. I think I can fault anybody for doing what they did.
It sounds like Kyle Whittingham is leaving regardless. It was either they made him leave or they let him leave. Like,
No. Whittingham talks to donors.
Do you want to be broken up with, or do you want to be the person who breaks up with the other person?
Whittingham asked them for more time. He wanted to say, if Harlan had said, sure, we'll give you more time, Whittingham's still the head coach at Utah. JT?
I'm still not fully sure if that's the case. If the Michigan job's available, it's a different challenge. It's very low. I want to be very clear though. There is absolutely a chance what Drake is saying is true. If they all came to an agreement and were like, you know what, Kyle, we want you as long as you'll have us. I do think there's absolutely a chance Kyle Whittingham is still the coach there. But at the same time, guys, sometimes it's better to move on from something a little early than too late. And Utah would have. I feel very strongly that Utah would have lost Morgan Scally. How this all plays off long term, we'll see.
Didn't Kyle Whittingham lose his energy and passion over the last year or so? Like,
then he found Rougiet.
Like, he was not Rougiet ready at all. Like, it felt like he was so like when he turned 65 in November or whatever it was. Everyone was like, "Oh, well, there it goes. Like, solid year, solid career, or solid season to end his career on." Like, it felt like Kyle Whittingham was done. I feel like the Michigan job reinvigorated him. Like, there's more money, obviously, bigger opportunities, but like it felt like he was done mentally. Did it not?
I think the narrative is there. I will say on the sideline, he didn't look like he was done. He still had the passion and the fire. He didn't look like Bill Belichick.
Rage to him, of course, but I mean,
he still had the passion. He still had the energy, and I think there's absolutely the case, right? Where I think he was very interested in coming back to Utah, and then they had their conversations took place, right? And then it was like, you know what? It's the right time for me to step down, right? That's where Utah and them. It seems like they came to an agreement there, and he stepped down, and now he's got a chance to go to Michigan too. So look, I'm really excited about Morgan Scally. I think you guys are all poo-pooing on Morgan Scally. Like, he can't do a really good job. I think it's way too early for the Mark Harlan stuff we're talking about here. I think we're 2 years away from that, right? Give Alex Jensen 2 years to see if basketball's trending in the right direction. Give Morgan Scally 2 football seasons, I feel like, to see how that trends. And then we can have this as more of a conversation.
Does he get to be critical of the conference on the whole over that whole 2 years? I mean, he didn't any the one that called it the conference as well.
That was 2 years ago, but yeah. Or a year.
I mean, but it's still the same dude, right? Like how many of the, I mean, anyway, I have
we've seen a lot of success under him, right? I will say, like, we were talking about all the things Utah's bad at. Our women's basketball team did just get a top 10 conference win, by the way, down TCU, who's undefeated at the time. So there are a lot of things still going well for Utah Athletics. We're a top 15 football program in the country this season. I don't think you fire an athletic director that. He's got this bold private equity plan. They're still trying to put all the pieces in place for too. Utah's not moving on from Mark Harlan. I do think he's earned
That's also a gigantic risk.
It is. But that's right. But we got to let it see if it plays out, right? It's not a disaster as quick as like Nico Harrison trading Luka, right? Like, it hasn't gone that badly that quickly. If the private equity deal gets there, we move on from. Also, be really quick, like to say in Drake's favor, the Craig Smith hire was a miss, right? So that is a negative strike for basketball. That is a negative strike on Mark Harlan. He does not have a flawless resume, but I think he's done enough good to buy himself more.
The outburst, the $40,000.
JT, question though.
The outburst, the $40,000 fine he got too. That's kind of a little bit of a stand on it.
That's good memory.
Considering some of the fines that the Big 12 schools were getting, that's like number 35 on the list. Shout out to Drake's, like his whole month of November.
One tuition. That's like one tuition.
Well, I'm talking about your content in the month of November because of all the chants. Like, that fine is like very low on the list of like
Cincinnati never got one too, by the way. Colorado got one, but Cincinnati
they did.
Yeah,
but JT, the question was, what if Kyle lied? Right? Lying is very common in college football.
No.
I mean,
he would fit into Michigan.
That Texas wide receiver that was like, they kicked me out. And then all the reporters were like, dude, they offered you 6 figures and you left anyway. Like, what if he was just like, yeah, I wanted to stay at Utah, but like behind the scenes, he was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely could be the case, right? That's the hard part with, as you mentioned, college football coaches. They're always saying one thing and then doing another. I do believe that Kyle Whittingham was at peace stepping down. I've been told that by a source I trust too. He was at peace with the decision, and now he has an opportunity to try and make it awesome at Michigan, which he turned down the chance to go to Tennessee in 2010. Now he chose staying in Utah.
He turned down Michigan
2010
in
Tennessee
is
a tough gig.
Yeah, it was exactly. It was very
Eric
tough,
Dooley.
but it gives you a better chance. That did give him a better chance to try and win at a bigger stage, right? Now he has that with Michigan, and we can see if it works. I will say one positive, if there is a positive in all this, it's a great spotlight, if it works, of the talent in the state of Utah on a national stage. If all these guys go to Michigan and they win there, I think it does show you how good
What the hell are we talking about?
What? Is that not
Why
true?
is that a positive? They all
It's
left.
really good for Utah high school football if Kyle Whittingham takes all of the players from our colleges and wins at Michigan.
JT, I think if Kyle Whittingham recruited Utah aggressively, Michigan fans would have an aneurysm. They want people from Florida. They want people from
Texas,
all those
California,
Texas, all the big states. I think they would accept 1 to 2.
We should tell Locked On Michigan
podium.
to do that episode.
Whit's going to say, we got a 2-star left guard from Orem, Utah that I'm very excited about. And Michigan fans are going to kill him.
You're all sleeping on Utah football a little bit, I will say. They're going to get John Henry Daly, right? That's a guy from Utah, more than likely. That's a pass rusher from Utah. They have a very good shot at Smith Snowden. That's a corner from the state of Utah. So they are going to get several guys, and a lot of these coaches are from
It's
there.
a good
Jackson Benny.
He's actually just re-signed with Utah, but I love that Jackson Benny got brought up on the Big 12 squad.
I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about signings and guys going to other places, but while we're talking about locked on other places not in the Big 12 like Michigan,
Duke,
we got to point out Wisconsin Whitewater. 5 guys in the NFL since 2000, not some like schmuck D3 program. I don't want to.
Owen Schmidt being one of those from West Virginia.
Again, it's an impressive Division III program. We're talking about guys moving around though a lot. And we haven't.
Was that just a shout out to Wisconsin Whitewater and we're moving on?
I will always shout out every Division III program.
Lock on. What is their mascot? What are they? The Whitewater what?
Rafts.
Mary Hardin Baylor. Shout out.
Shout to Mary Hardin Baylor. We haven't moved past. Swordsby said he is going to Texas Tech for the facilities.
The facilities.
Was it not to get?
They have.
Does that include?
He was from Cincinnati, for God's sakes. I mean,
does facilities include the ATM machine? Like, what facility is he talking about?
How about the billboard? Times Square.
Have you seen the video of the AT&T walkthrough? It's like with a drone. Have you ever seen it? It's insane. It's truly insane.
He's getting paid more than Shador to play for the Browns.
And guess who's getting paid more that we didn't talk about? Drew Mestemaker.
How much?
$7 million deal for Oklahoma State.
$7 million. Is that real? Have we corroborated?
Yes, it's real. I confirmed it.
The Oklahoma State mean green.
Yeah, that's definitely. Listen, Oklahoma State has a new donor that's just stepped up just this cycle after post Gundy. That's writing checks right now. Cody probably would have already brought that up by now if he was on the show. But like I said, I've been working in his stead. I've made a lot of connections with people there now. A lot of their media, like probably 5 or 6 of them, they're real big time media people. And I've talked a lot. And I mean, look, they are really stepping it up. Number 1 portal class in the country right now, 18 commitments. I mean, they're really crushing around now. They got the number 1 quarterback, the number 1 running back commit. They got 2 or 3 wide receivers. They're
North Texas North, man.
I know, but the thing is about those North Texas players, they're like James Madison players. They're all ranked in the 90s as far as like on 3 ratings go.
That's what
you know what I mean? They're not just your typical G5 transfer that's like mid 80s, 88. Like these guys are like 4 and 5 star type ratings.
This is what Signetti did, and it has worked.
Yeah,
decent.
it's very similar.
Can I say something really quick? How do you guys feel about Tech flexing the Sorsby signing after they just got shut out in the college football playoff? I feel like they should go dormant at least for a little bit. Then we can do that.
But
you just got shut out.
What are they supposed to do? Because they got shut out because the quarterback played bad. Yep. And so here's a quarterback.
Yeah.
I thought that was 100% on purpose.
That's the move. You got to make that move.
That was such a bad game for him.
Everyone was like, if you have a above average quarterback, you're probably winning that game because Oregon didn't do anything until the end. And
is he worth $5 million to you guys?
No, probably not $5 million.
Well, I think to live in Lubbock, there's this report out there that they have to be paid a little bit extra to get some of the top guys to go to Lubbock because believe it or not, it's not.
It's Bloomington's great, by the way.
No,
Bloomington drove through.
Level says this openly. Level talks, but like there is a Lubbock tax. They have to pay guys more.
Yeah. I mean, not everyone's a big Landman fan, right?
Rich Rodriguez refuses to do that, by the way.
Driving from Fort Worth to wherever he's driving and just enjoys
the H-Town discount. Okay, come on.
Yep. There's some clubs in H-Town. Won't say how I know.
Drake, how much NIL you getting?
Lemon pepper Drake over here.
Did you say lemon pepper?
So, fun fact about Houston is James Harden's got a jersey retired, and it's at a nightclub. I'm not going to say what kind of nightclub, and not at a basketball gym.
Yeah, hell yeah. JT, last thing, what you got?
How much NIL you getting for? How much NIL did you spend for that hotel room, sir?
Okay.
Speaking of
it's all a tax write-off. All a tax write-off. Little marble headboard right there, tax write-off. This has been It Always Will Be. Locked On. Thanks for making our shows your first listen every single day. It's the Dose Grande Squad.